matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
We some lions, don't let the boys get loose, about to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening, time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let the boys get loose, about to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening, time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let them boys get loose, it's a new day. Honolulu Blue got the boys on a crusade. Campbell throwing dukes, got golf at the Wings game. Hear his name, replay and replay and replay. Got him off the leash every Sunday. David Montgomery, Gibbs on the runway. Take a shot at Jameson and stumble out the hallway. Running in the hutch any day, that's a bad day. They don't wanna bring us up, keep us off the airways. America's team, sick of dealing with these cowboys. Bidding your hostess, you've been cheating like an all day. We got Slim Shady, you too call me Beyonce. Welcome to Detroit, all that grit can go a long way. Panay drawn lines in the ground like a driveway. Trucking up L's at a porter, that's a bad name. Sinners need saints, put our faith in the mom's hands. Lions, don't let the boys get loose, about to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening, time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let the boys get loose, about to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening, time to make history, I want a victory. Used to line up 100, still keep it 100. Used to be underdogs, now they're all running. Now everybody that we play knows we're coming. They used to be talking, now they're saying nothing. The circle of life comes around, ain't that something? Lions, the kings of the jungle, we ruffle their feathers. Y'all got too much cheese on your heads, please.
Uh-oh.
Taking three
Sorry,
toes. No, you're
What
good.
up?
No,
What
I
up,
muted
y'all?
you again. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. So we are here. I know last week was kind of interesting because, we had the game before the game. We all knew that this was the game that we were going to get ready for, but we had to take care of business against the Niners, and we did. We went in, played a little sloppy in the beginning, but came out, got the dub, got the revenge. The revenge tour is over for the season, so great job, Lions. Finished undefeated on the road, and now the Queens come into the Detroit and talking a lot of smack, talking a lot of stuff, and can't wait for tonight to shut them all up, get that 1 seed, get some rest, and then get ready for next week, 2 weeks from now, play in the playoffs, first game. How y'all feeling about this?
Feeling good. I'm feeling good about this game, man. Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm hyped up. Kind of knew that it was coming down to the last game of the year. Kind of thought that a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, you know what? I think the Lions and Vikings, that last game of the year, that's going to be very important. And it's going to come down to everything, division and conference. I mean, I'm pumped.
I did not see this happening. I definitely thought that the Lions would have wrapped this up earlier, but the Vikings had some close wins, which I thought they could have lost. The Lions just, you look at their only 2 losses, man. You lose to the Bucks, who's probably going to be in the playoffs, more likely.
Yeah,
and a good team. And then you lose to the Buffalo Bills, who are going to be a very tough opponent for the Chiefs. So those are your only 2 losses. Hey, man, pat yourself on the back. That's a hell of a season right there.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
B, how you feeling? I know
I'm
you
feeling
Mr.
good.
Kill over here.
I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah.
I'm not even worried about it, to tell you the truth.
Is there a game that you ever are worried about, B?
No. As long as that offense is out there doing its job, I'm not worried about no game.
That's fair. That's fair.
The only time I'm not going to be, I'm going to be worried about it is if Goff goes down. I'm not going to.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Jameer or any of those, what
no.
a real person would be Ahmad. So
Any of those
anybody on the
injuries would hurt.
Yeah,
tremendously.
Important
Goff for
on the
sure,
offense.
because he is the engine that makes everything run.
Yeah, so.
All right. Well, we're not alone today. We do have a Viking fan. Mr. Michael Johnson is back for some more blood. We didn't get to talk to him the last game. So first off, we won. That was a great game. We took care of business. The Vikings, I believe, were undefeated going into that game. And everybody was talking about how they were number 1 in the North. They're the best in the North. And the Lions took the dub. So
Nah,
Here we
well,
are.
relish in it while you can, because it ain't going to happen again.
Okay.
Enjoy that 5 seed.
No,
Well, here's
you
the
enjoy
thing.
the 5 seed.
That's same energy.
Not
Here's the
happening
thing.
today, baby.
Yeah, it is happening today.
Here's
ready.
the thing.
Get ready. Get ready, buddy.
Here's the thing. I'm going to play devil's
Get
advocate for a
ready.
sec. If the Lions happen to lose this game, which they're not, but if they did, we're undefeated on the road. We can beat anybody on the road. I am not worried about this team on the road. Let's just say that. Not a lot of teams can say that if they have to go on the road. Are y'all confident on the road going into the playoffs?
Yeah, but if okay, let's play devil's advocate. If we win, got a first round bye, you guys get 5. You have to go to Tampa, and Tampa.
We can beat Tampa. We can beat Tampa. We beat them. We want revenge on that game. They beat us in the earlier season. You don't think we want blood there? We can do it, and we don't lose 2 in a row. You remember that too.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I mean, it's why they call it any given Sunday. Playoff football is a totally different creature than
of course, but you look at the record. The record don't lie. The Lions haven't lost 2 games in a row in probably 2 years.
But that
and the fact is, we're undefeated on the road.
But you go 0-0.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
0-0
the confidence. The confidence of this team is good, regardless what.
I hate to disagree with you on that cliche, because it is a playoffs, but it's still a game. You still have to fight to win.
Yeah,
and the Lions have been fighting to win, and their mantra, and this is the thing that people don't understand about the Lions, is their mantra is the next game we got to keep playing. They have a goal. That's the thing that people don't understand. They have a goal. Their goal is to get in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying other 31 teams don't have that goal, but Detroit is focused on that goal, and they'll step on whoever they can to get there to do that. And that's the point, that a lot of people are not taking the Lions seriously about that at all. Well, not I say at all, but most fans don't.
Exactly how you feel, because there ain't a person in this world who's taken the Vikings seriously all year. We're the most overlooked team in the NFL.
I don't know. I think early on in the season they were talking about y'all too. I mean, maybe because the Lions were dominating the division. Yes, I can agree with you on that. But you also got to remember we're NFC champs. I mean, we were in the NFC championship last year. So
I'd say at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were underestimating the Vikings. They said they only have 6 wins. The under was like 6.5 wins. So
that's the thing right there.
The first 5 weeks, everybody gave the Vikings their due credit. Like, hey, their offense is good. Sam Darnold is playing. Seemed like a resurgence of his career. But, regardless, needless to say, 2 teams are playing tonight. 2 teams are going to go out and battle for the number 1 spot and seed. And I think that I'll give the edge a little bit just to Detroit. Not only because that's my team, but Sam Darnold haven't played in a hostile environment like he's going to play in tonight. This is going to be the biggest moment of Sam Darnold's career right here. We know what Jared Goff plays like when he's in high moments, right? Played in the Super Bowl, NFC Championship game twice. And this team is very experienced, where the Vikings, while you guys have a nice, good squad, can you stop our run game? Can you sustain long drives to keep the ball out of Detroit's hands? Because that's one of my keys to the games. I'll get to that later, but you're going to have to stop that Detroit Lions offense. We've seen how the Vikings play against high-powered offense. Look at what they did against the LA Rams. Look at how they played against us the first time. The Lions spotted the Vikings 10 points in the first quarter. The Lions came back and still won that game by a field goal.
Exactly, and that's because Brian Flores took his foot off the gas, and we've talked about this on Jeremy's podcast, to where they went and played nickel prevent. They were comfortable. They didn't, keep pushing. And it came back and bit them. The same thing with the Rams. Our only 2 losses this year are to 2 decent teams, and it was in less than 1 score. Nobody's blown us out. And we've hung, through the whole thing. And kind of getting back to what you were saying, I'd love to know what show you were watching, because we were 10-2, and everybody was saying the Vikings are frauds.
Really?
I've been listening to it all year. Yeah, the expectation was that, Sam Darnold was a bridge quarterback. He was going to come in. We're going to have a 500 team. I thought the same thing. B can attest to this. I said, we're lucky to get 8 wins this year, because looking at not knowing how Sam Darnold was going to be, not knowing the what's the word I'm looking for? Not knowing what the future of Jordan Addison after his DWI arrest at LAX, losing Kyrie. losing, Abdullah in our secondary. I mean, before the preseason was even over, we had 1 foot in the grave. And whatever happens tonight, guys, it's going to be the game of the year. It is going to be 100% to the death. And both teams are going to fight. You guys are plus 1.5 favorites at home right now. It's pretty much an even line from everything I was reading, seeing this morning.
Did they go down because they went to 3?
Yeah, was it 3?
Mm-hmm.
It's at 3. Mm-hmm.
I mean, 3 is a home field advantage, so it's going to come down. It's just going to be like last time we played. I mean, it's going to come down to last second. It's going to be determined who has the ball last and who has the ball to start the second half. So it's going to be a great game. I love y'all. It's going to be a nail biter, for sure.
It's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah. And the thing is, so I was thinking about this with the matchup. So we could all agree that right now this team is pretty even, right? Like the records are obviously the same, but just on a talent level, just on the way things are, this current team is on the same level of the Vikings, right? We could probably agree on that.
Yeah, they're pretty much even across the board.
Okay. So if we didn't lose Aiden, we didn't lose Mac, we didn't lose CD, we didn't lose Barnes, would this game be on an even level?
I think so, because your defense, Dan Campbell's had the mentality of next man up ever since he came in. He's grooming people to take over positions as the next man up. You guys have a deep roster. You have everything. All your pieces are in place. And in hindsight, I mean, we can turn around and say the same thing with Minnesota. What if Kyrie Irving didn't die? What if our D-backs
Kyrie Jackson.
Kyrie Jackson. Sorry.
You scared the hell out of me.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, it's
but to be fair, but to be fair, you're talking about a rookie who'd never played in the NFL. Okay, rest in peace. We're not trying to talk about somebody who's passed away.
Yeah,
but we're talking about 4 impact players on defense, including number 97, who was probably going to be the sack leader this year if he didn't go down.
True.
I mean, and this defense, if you look at this defense, when Alex went down and Mac went down, this defense just tailspins.
Yeah.
Like, and you're right. The next man up, that is all fine and dandy. But those guys are not the guys we lost. Like, this defense was a top 5 defense before all those injuries happened.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, that's why I'm saying is, like, right now we're on an even level. But if we have those dudes going into this game, I don't see that as an even matchup, because I think that the Lions, with that defense and the way this offense has been rolling, that's all I'm saying.
I think it would have been instead of a +3 or an even line, I think you guys would have been favored by 5. I mean, just to give you the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you're going to have the home field advantage, but then the Vikings swooped in and bought 20,000 of your tickets right behind the Lions bench. So
2,000.
Was it 2,000?
Yeah.
Oh, 2,000. I saw somebody.
And it was behind y'all's bench.
It was
visitors bench. Yep.
Yeah,
I want to talk.
They ain't selling those tickets behind their bench.
I want to talk about that too, because while they say they bought 1,900 to 2,000 tickets, that stadium holds 65,000 people.
Yeah,
there are going to be a lot of Lions fans there.
I mean, we figured 2,000 fans would show up at the game regardless.
Well, I mean,
I've heard that they sold some of those on the secondary market.
Yeah, Vikings travel well, and there's going to be a mix of blue and purple. In there, it's going to be loud on both sides of the ball, irregardless. This is basically the NFC Championship game. In a sense.
I can see that.
There's a lot on the line, guys. I mean, we're going to sit here and go, holy shit, it is storming here. I don't know if you can hear the rain. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can hear it. I thought it was
it's not static. Yeah.
Let me go inside.
You're good.
It came out of nowhere. It's supposed to be 29 degrees in the morning here. So
Damn.
I don't know what kind of evil voodoo you guys are sending down here from Detroit, but you can keep that shit.
It's the Viking tears.
Listen, it's like
that's all right, because Nate lives in your area, Mike, so he's getting the same shit.
I know, Nate.
No,
Tell
not
him.
yet.
Tell
Not
him to
yet.
stop that shit, bro.
It's
We're
a
in
little clear.
we're in Texas. We ain't designed for this cold shit.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, we're about to get down to 30 tonight for sure.
So I wish 30 would be comfortable for me right now, man. Like 10 degrees here.
Where are you at?
I'm in Michigan.
Oh, you're in Michigan? Okay.
Michiganders. We got two
Yeah,
Michiganders.
so I'm just north of Houston, and it's
Okay.
supposed to be 29 tonight, 29 tomorrow, 27 the next day, highs in the 40s. We ain't built for this shit. You know, we don't have cold weather clothes.
We shut down. We shut down when there's ice on the road.
Well, it's raining right now, so the roads are going to be wet, and then here just a little bit, it's going to start dropping. So I grew up in Minnesota, so these fucking idiots down here don't know how to drive for shit. So my best bet is this: I'm just going to stay at the house.
He's not wrong. The one thing we can agree on. He that is true. That is very true. People don't know how to drive in ice and water and rain and all that stuff.
No.
All right. Well, back to the game. So, you know, it's hard to look at this Lions team because the losses on defense are so impactful. I mean, when you lose a guy like Aleem McNeil inside, he's been playing really well this year. Mm-hmm. You lose a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, who was on pace to probably have the sack total this year and just wreak havoc on defenses. You know, those are two hits to the interior. And then not to mention the linebackers. I mean, we've literally had all our linebackers decimated. Thank God that Alex is going to come back today, which is huge. That's going to help out a little bit. But, you know, the linebackers have been the weakness of this defense because they've just inexperienced and they don't know what they're doing, you know. And then losing CD, Carlton Davis, I mean, you're relying on a rookie who's played well at times and a guy who, you know, we picked up in the free agency to hold down the fort. So, you know, thank God for Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph because, you know, they help a lot with the cornerbacks. But those are key defensive pieces that, you know, if you have those guys on your defense, I mean, this defense isn't in question. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, your defense is solid. You know, I mean, you guys have done you guys have, you know, I always live my life by the 3 P, you know, pause, process, and pivot. You know, so you guys have done, you know, all of that, and you guys have filled where you need to in the same aspect. I mean, look, we lost 2 starters on our offensive line, one to an ACL, one to an Achilles. You know, we picked up that dude, Cam Robinson from the Jaguars, which has been an absolute shit show. And he's the most penalized, you know, offensive guard in the league. You know, he's given up. Sam Darnold's been sacked, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 15 times this year, and 9 of them have came through Cam Robinson's hole.
I don't even know why y'all made that trade.
I don't either. You know,
stupid ass trade.
But
Vikings fans loved it. They loved it, man. They rubbed it in our face. Oh, we got Cam Robinson. I'm like, dude, this guy was cut for a reason, or he was traded for a reason.
Hey, B, remember when we picked him up? What I said? You know, we picked up a $15 million contract for a dude who can't stay healthy. And that a Pop Warner kid will spin on him and come to the inside. He's going to fall over his fat ass and lay on the ground, and Darnold's going to be picking himself up off the ground. And that's exactly what has happened every year. The only reason why we're stopping anything coming from the left side of that line is because they have to shift and double whatever's coming through Cam Robinson's hole, which leaves the middle wide open, which has put Bradbury in a vulnerable position to where he's just getting the shit kicked out of him all year. And if you guys bring that intensity on that left side of the line, it's going to be a long day for Sam, you know, and that's what it is. But
lineup Za'Darius.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know Za'Darius. He's, you know, I mean, he played for us. We've watched him the whole time in Green Bay. You know, he was a good pickup for you guys. He really was. And B and I even talked about this, is that, you know, what Za'Darius are you going to get? Are you going to get the Za'Darius that plays, you know, all 60 minutes of the game, or are you going to get one that's going to get pissed off and whine and throw a fucking fit and then not want to play? And, you know, he's done great for you guys.
Well, we haven't seen that one yet, but I mean, the thing is Darius is that he plays well against his rivals, and we're hoping that today is one of those things where he's going to take it personal and go against y'all, because he did that with the Packers. I mean, his first play was a sack, but
Yeah.
He's been kind of quiet the last couple of games, so we need him to ball out today.
Zadarius didn't leave Minnesota because he was unhappy. Zadarius left because it was a 1-year deal and he wanted more money. He went to the Browns for I think $1 million more than what the Vikings were going to offer him on a 1-year deal, and then
we see that all the time.
He got cut from the fucking Browns. I mean, come on, It is what it is. It's I got a lot of buddies who are Lions fans. I got they live up in like Fort Wayne, Indiana. I've been catching shit all week and vice versa. And all I got to say is my Ohio State Buckeyes are going to be in the Cotton Bowl. They're going to take down Texas.
And, we can agree with that. I can agree with that on you too. I hate Texas.
I'm gonna call it right now, guys. I'm saying Penn State, Ohio State, a Big Ten national championship.
That'd be crazy.
I think Penn State.
Notre Dame. Don't sleep on Notre Dame, man. Notre Dame. Well.
Nah, man. Notre Dame barely. Notre Dame beat Georgia with 10 people out from Georgia, and no Carson Beck.
I agree with you on that.
So.
All right. Well, let's go back to let's go back to the matchup. So, tell me today, before we get into the injury report, tell me today why the Vikings will win.
If you can get your notes done, I know that
the Vikings are going to win because we're going to control the ball. And we're gonna set a tempo. Our defense is going to end up playing the best game that they've ever played, and I think Sam is going to be methodical. We have to get TJ Hawkinson and Jalen Rager involved early, because I feel that Branch and what's the other cornerback's name? I can't remember. Kirby Joseph are gonna basically shut down Jefferson and Addison. So our secondary receivers, our third reads are going to have to be involved. And the biggest thing is we have to establish the run. If we're going to mix in Cam Akers and, Sombrero Boy, I think that's what we're going to have to do. I mean, Jones, I think, is going to have a good game, but there's going to be a mix between all three of them. Jones is coming off a quad injury with a deep thigh bruise, so I don't know how much he's going to do, but the only way that we win is if we control the ball. If we don't, and we have to stay away from turnovers, stupid plays, fumbles, interceptions, and our defense has got to keep on taking the ball away. We've got to take away in every single game this year, and we have to stay on that. I don't see an interception because Goff doesn't throw picks, but I think a lot of the hammer ball that the Vikings play on run is going to produce probably a couple fumbles, possibly. So we'll see.
All right, B, tell me why the Lions are going to win.
The Lions are going to win because they're going to establish. I think it's just the establishment of the run, and I think the Lions got a better offensive line and a better run game. Not necessarily the better running back, but the better run game than Minnesota does. And I don't know what you're talking about, Mike, about Jefferson's going to get shut down. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah, can't show a guy like that.
Jefferson's
wishful thinking, but yeah, it's not going to happen.
I think Jefferson's going to have a big day.
If we shut down Jefferson, y'all are losing bad.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to – I think Addison might get loose a couple of times. This is going to be a high-scoring game.
It was reverse psychology, B. You see what I did there? So Jefferson has got to get 168 yards today to surpass Chase from the Bengals. So I don't think he's going to want his ex-college teammate to beat him this year.
No, he might get over 100, but he ain't getting on 68. He ain't doing that. As long as you got them two safeties back there, that ain't happening. They might give up something, but they ain't giving up 168. So
they've been really good against.
They've been getting a couple of touchdowns.
They've been really good. They've been really good against big plays this year. So lately, it's kind of been a little bit shaky because of all the injuries. But the Lions have been really good about eliminating those big plays.
Yeah,
I don't think the Lions worry about the ball control. I think that just happens over the course of the game because their aim is to get a damn touchdown every time they touch the ball. They go down the field pretty quick.
You know what?
A lot of times. So,
Brian, B, I do think the Lions are worried about ball control. Why? I think they kind of just. Are you talking about on the offensive side or defensive side?
I'm talking about on the offensive side. They don't
Like
worry about
us
ball
having
control.
the ball.
Yeah, I don't think they worry about ball
They're
control.
just trying to score touchdowns. They're just trying to score
That's gonna
touchdowns
be a
all the
big-
time.
I think that's going to be a key to us actually winning today because we know that the Minnesota Vikings have a good offense. They have a great offense. They have a high-scoring offense. You have 3 guys that can really go out there and catch and just get touchdowns. I think the Lions aren't going to want to give them that chance to be able to score. They want to keep the ball out of their hands as much as possible. I don't think they're going to want to let Sam Darnold and that Minnesota Vikings offense have the ball and just score at will. That's one way you keep them from scoring. Don't let them get the ball. Keep the ball.
Well, the Lions definitely want to extend plays with a run game, no doubt. And the Vikings are suspect to being run on. So, I mean, the Lions have to factor that into their offense. But I also think you can attack them in the secondary too. So, I mean, it's really going to depend on what Ben Johnson wants to develop and how he wants to develop it. Balance is going to be key. I think if you can run and pass on the Vikings defense, you're looking pretty good to win that game.
Yeah.
But
so focused on, I think something that I think Brian Flores is going to be so focused on trying to not blitz Jared Goff that is going to open up the game.
He's going to blitz. He lives to blitz.
If he blitz, he gets burned every single time.
No.
Every single time he gets burned.
No, not necessarily, but it all depends. It all depends on which Cam Bynum shows up and what Shaq Griffith shows up. I mean, like I said, this game is totally different than every other game because both Ben Johnson is coming out with a wholly different game plan. Brian Flores learned from the last game, so it's going to be a totally different game plan.
But to say he's not going to blitz, it's not
Brian
true.
Flores
He blitzes 41% out of everybody.
Jared Goff, numbers prove. I have the numbers here. Prove that he gets burned every single time. So the last time the Lions and the Vikings made, obviously we know that was a couple of months ago, but we're still playing the same team, right? Everybody's gotten better, matured, and gotten smarter, right? So 17 of 29 Goff's drop back, he was blitzed, and he completed 22 of those 25 passes with 2 touchdowns. He has absolutely carved up Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator. Yeah. He has. Those are
that's when we talked about that earlier. That's when he was playing that nickelback, defense. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be more man. You suck up linebackers and you blitz, out of there. You still have.
You want to put J-Mo on a man coverage?
I mean, no, not really.
No, the answer is no and no, ever.
So that's going to be a big thing. I think that Brian Flores is going to have to factor in when he's facing this offense.
To be fair, Jay, Goff's been carving up every defense. I mean, the guy's numbers are out of this world. The fact that they're talking about Sam Darnold as MVP candidate over Goff is asinizing. It is complete asinizing.
I'm not even going to entertain even a thought like that because it's just pure silliness.
Look, it is
having a good career.
From a Viking,
neither one of them deserve MVP.
No,
you want to know why? Because they have offense. They have offensive weapons to throw to. This is the same thing I feel about Lamar Jackson too. Okay. I don't feel that Lamar Jackson is an MVP because he has Derrick Henry on his team. Derrick Henry's almost got 1,800 yards. That helps you as a quarterback. And that's why Lamar is doing so well this year because he's got somebody to lean on. And it's the same thing. Now, what I go by is if you take him off the team, what will your team would be? You know what I'm saying? So like if you took Josh Allen off of Buffalo, he already ain't got shit.
They ain't win a game.
They ain't gonna win too many games. No. And if you took Joe Burrow off of Cincinnati, he definitely ain't winning no games. Yeah. So that's how I see an MVP that has high stats.
Yeah.
So if you do that kind of stuff, then that's my determination of MVP. Lamar didn't deserve the MVP last year, and he had lower numbers, and there was better quarterback. Goff was a better quarterback than him last year, but they always couldn't. I guess it's because of the athletic thing. I don't know.
Here's my take on it. they're throwing Sam in the mix on the MVP talk for the simple fact that he's had a career year. Do I think he's MVP? No. Do I think he's NFL Comeback Player of the Year? Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, does Kevin O'Connell deserve, Coach of the Year? Yeah. Look at what he's done. But
Disagree with that.
we're not going to get any of them accolades because we're Minnesota. And that's the true fact behind it. Yeah, and if you disagree with Kevin O'Connell, who do you think had a better, who do you think deserves to be Coach of the Year?
Dan Campbell, come on.
For what? You guys did the exact same shit you did last year.
No, we didn't. We're a better team. We've had more injuries. We're 14-2. I mean, come on. You know how hard it is to go to the championship and then come back playing a first place schedule, dealing with all those injuries and only have 2 losses the whole season? That to me is Coach of the Year. I don't care what anybody says.
Then if that's the case, Andy Reid should have had it every single fucking year. Because he's done that every single year in Kansas City. Every year.
Yeah, but you're talking about Andy Reid who winning Super Bowls. If the Lions are winning Super Bowls, then I can agree with you. But the Lions have not won a Super Bowl. And the fact is, last year, Dan Campbell, after his presser, when they lost to the Niners, said himself to his team, we might not be back. And then they got the schedule, they got the injuries, and look at it, 14-2. And they should win today, and they're going to go all the way. Like, seriously. So, I mean, yes, he's Coach of the Year.
We'll agree to disagree.
Sorry, on the show.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this: whoever wins tonight, that's the one who's going to win Coach of the Year. That's all I'm going to say. Because you're right, Kevin Connolly deserves that because really, as well, because Minnesota wasn't even. I didn't project them myself to be but third place. I thought Green Bay was going to do a better job, but Green Bay was the ones that were the frauds. Not Minnesota. Minnesota came out and was hitting people in the mouth. So, I mean, I like the way that he's rallied his troops around. I think his running game got better, though. I think Aaron Jones is a way better back than you had last year. Way better back than you had last year. And I think he's been better than even Davin Cook has been. So, with that being said, you still got Justin Jefferson. I think really is Minnesota's the prisoner of their own fate, though. They've had good players all the time, and it just seems they can't get up there. Like the one year when they had Kirk Cousins and they got him up to 13 wins, and they lost in the playoffs to the Giants. Thing was those are things that are, you got to look at in a box, kind of like
the thing to be, I'll agree with you, is I think Minnesota has also, when you watch them play, they don't blow teams out. Like if you look at all their margins of victory, it's been less than 7 points. Look at the Packers game. They were dominating the Packers early, and they almost blew that game. So, and that's with a Brian Flores defense.
Yeah, but it goes back to everything I've been saying. I mean, if you're in any of the Valhalla groups I'm in and shit, like I will start bitching about this defense, as soon as they start doing it. We take our foot off the gas. We don't play complete 60 games. We go into a prevent and we allow teams to come back in. If we stay with the game plan that we did in the first half and keep our foot on the gas and keep doing what we're doing, then there would be bigger, games. I mean, it's just like the very first time we played Green Bay.
But here's my question to you. Okay, you bring up that point, but if Brian Flores hasn't shown any ability to do that already, what makes you think he's going to do it today?
I don't know. I can't honestly answer that. It's a stress point that I've had all year. Why he does what he does, and he leans on us. He leans on the defense to be able to make them big plays. Well, we shouldn't have to do that. If we're up by 20 going into the fourth quarter, why the fuck do you go into a nickelback prevent and allow all these underneaths? Because
they're playing not to lose. They don't want to give up a big play.
But you are giving up big plays. You're giving up big chunk plays. You're giving up. You're falling back. On safety coverage. You're falling back on corner coverage. You're not pressing. You're not at the line, and you're giving 10-yard ends. On slants that your linebackers are sucked up for a blitz look. You have the whole middle of the field wide open. That 10-yard slant just turned into 38 yards. We showed it last week. We showed it the week before. We showed it the week before that. It's a continuous vicious cycle that makes me want to run my head through a damn wall.
Yeah,
because of it.
But I don't think you could blame the defense completely. I think the offense has got to put up more points. I mean, we've seen this with the Lions. I mean, the defense gives up points. Our offense goes out and scores more points.
Yeah,
like what's the offense's excuse?
You go up and put up 35 points in the NFL, you should win.
Yeah, we're averaging 33.
Okay, we're averaging what, 31?
26.
Like
right.
On the road.
But here's the point. You put up them numbers, you shouldn't have to sit at the edge of your chair, gripping a remote control that you've twisted like a towel because your defense is playing stupid or your defensive coordinator is allowing that.
Yeah. I mean, bro, we're
you
Lions
guys
fans.
don't do that. You did last week.
We've seen worse in years.
Yeah. You guys did last week against San Francisco. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this team? And then you guys willed a way to win, the same as Minnesota.
Yeah.
We have willed ourselves to win.
Well, we made adjustments in the second half. If you watch the game, the first half was garbage, but the second half, I don't think the Niners scored any points in the second half, maybe a touchdown or something like that.
Can you hear me?
So it's all about the adjustments.
Anyone?
Go ahead, B. Go ahead, Jay. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Whew. Duh, I'm sorry. So what's going on right now is that whenever my brother sends me messages, it literally cuts off my connection because I got everything connected to each other.
Just tell him to hold off until the show's over.
I apologize. But anyway, okay. So I really cannot piggyback on the coach of the year thing because I didn't really get to state my case. Really quick, I'll spend 2 minutes on it. I think that Dan Campbell deserves it because you said can I call you Mike, by the way?
Yeah.
About 15 minutes ago, you said that Dan Campbell has groomed these pieces on his team to be players that come in and be next man up. There's no other coach in the league that had to face the adversity that Dan Campbell has and had as much success as he is. So it's rare that you find 14-2 teams in the same conference and in the same division at that. And one team has been decimated by injuries and still been able to go having the highest scoring offense and still being able to have a somewhat functional defense. It's very
and playing elite competition too.
And playing the level of competition that we have played. We lost to the Bucks and the Buffalo Bills, but if you see Josh Allen is playing like a MVP level quarterback, which is I think he's going to win it over Lamar Jackson. And he signed 3-4 guys off the street that week to come in and start and play against a high level offense like Buffalo.
Out of your 21 people that are injured on your IR, out of them 21, how many are starters?
You got Hutch, McNeil, Davenport,
4 right now are starters.
Yes,
okay.
4 starters.
We lost 8 starters before preseason was even over.
Mm-hmm.
We lost 3 more starters during the year. So that's
but the impact of are you telling me the players that you had are more impactful than the players that we lost?
Well,
that's not true.
They're saying as far as Dan Campbell grooming people and he had to go through adversity, we lost 8 starters before preseason. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Both coaches had a very, very uphill climb to get where they're at. Both are great candidates for coach of the year. Unfortunately, we don't make that decision. The AP is going to make that. And like B said, or whoever said it, whoever wins this game tonight will be coach of the year. And that's what we have to do. They're both great coaches. I would love to have either one on my team.
Yeah, and I like Kevin O'Connell. I think he's a good head coach. I think he's a good guy, just by the way he talks and how he carries himself. Respectable guy. The reason why I'm saying that, though, is because even when our depth pieces went down, Kai Wingo, Pico,
talk about that, dude. We lost the backups to the backups. You picked up guys off the streets. Literally, right on the streets.
100%. I fully agree.
Come in and start, and they actually did very well.
I fully agree.
Yeah, to keep up that level of play, that's very hard to do.
And to be fair, let's be honest, our schedule was a lot more difficult. We played a first place schedule, and you're talking about guys that we had to bring in off the streets to go against the Vikings, go against the Packers, go against a hungry 49ers team on the road. The
49ers team isn't hungry. That place has been a dumpster fire all year.
They sure as hell played like it.
You guys went in flat as shit because you thought you were going to walk them because you didn't have, 49ers didn't have Debo. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey.
I will say I do think the Lions took the Niners a little bit lightly.
Exactly.
I disagree with that. You got to remember when you're the best team.
Hold up. First of all, the Lions didn't take nobody lightly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
the defense just came out flat. Okay. The offense was moving up and down the field on San Francisco. So I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that they were being disenchanted about the whole situation. The defense came out flat. In the second half, you saw the defense pick up a little bit. Now, San Francisco didn't have nothing to play for, and maybe we extinguished their fire midway through the the beginning of the fourth quarter. That may be true. However, San Francisco was out there to take care of Detroit because they are because we talk a lot of shit to their ass because we lost to them last year.
Yeah, like we were expecting it.
But that was a totally different team. Last year was a totally different team.
And just murder the 49ers. But the Niners were like,
that's understandable, but it's the mentality that what we're talking about. This Lions team will play anybody, anywhere, and anytime. The thing is that I disagree with you, Jay, that we did not take it lightly. The reality is, and people need to get this through their heads, that this team, everybody was out to get them. Everybody was going to give them their best shot. The shittiest teams, the best teams, everybody wants to put the Lions into the ground. So they're going to come out and they're going to give you your best. Now, the thing with the Lions is it's like a fighting match. We'll go a couple of rounds back and forth, but who's going to win those last 2 rounds? Who's going to come out on top? And that's what the Lions have been doing. They go for the knockout.
Yeah, and I know I've seen. I'm not going to lie. I've seen a lot of fans from different areas, pages and everything, talking about how they're just going to go in and slaughter the 49ers. I didn't think that at all. I thought it'd be a better win, more of a kind of a bigger margin of win. But I mean, they still got.
But Jay, if we had our defensive players, is that a close game?
Well, if we had the greatest players of all time, do we win the Super Bowl?
Answer the question. If we had our players.
I would say yes. I would definitely think.
I disagree. I don't think it's close at all.
I don't. But
you see the weaknesses that they attacked us on. You're telling me if we had Barnes and Alex out there against Kittle, this game would have been closer because Kittle's the one that killed us.
If they would have had CMC out there and Ayuk, you got to remember that too. Yeah. San Francisco's got a high-powered offense too, and they just didn't have all their weapons.
Yeah, but we've been playing a top 5 defense all year before our injuries.
I think that I do think that the Lions ultimately would have won, but I think another thing that played like a factor in that is that they went to San Francisco. You look at primetime games over on the East Coast, traveling to West Coast teams. It can get a little bit iffy, and
sure, it's a long trip, man.
Yeah, it's a long exactly.
Hey, so you know, the new spread just came out. Lions by 2, 51% chance of winning.
I wonder who went down. That's interesting. But also too, another thing too, and I think we forget about this. This is where Dan Campbell separates himself from every coach in the NFL. They had nothing to play for in that situation. They could have come out and they could have just lost the game because they knew that the biggest game was the next week. But you know what Dan Campbell said on Monday in his presser? We're bringing everybody to the game. He shut that shit down about sitting players and all that stuff when other coaches could have done that, but he didn't do that. Dan is more than just a leader. He's a culture changer. He is if you meet the guy, he literally could probably talk you into whatever you're trying to do and make you believe in yourself more than probably you believe in yourself. Because I think that's what he does. No other coach has that kind of impact on his team. Yes, Kevin O'Connell is a great coach. Yes, Kevin O'Connell is a player's coach. I respect Kevin O'Connell, but he's not Dan Campbell. Because Dan Campbell, go back to the Packers game. Remember the Packers game when we got eliminated before the game started? And we went out and we ended Aaron Rodgers' career in Green Bay, and we pretty much ended Aaron Rodgers in general, if he ever plays again. The belief that this guy puts in his team and they follow to the T. I've never seen that in another coach.
And allude to that whole situation right there. And this is for you, Mike, because we had this conversation before about how the Lions culture is different. And a lot of teams, especially in our division, teams, fans, players, always think that the Lions are going to revert back to the same old Lions again. And that's not going to happen because it's a different culture. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying people that are just going based on history, Green Bay Packers fans. And that's what San Francisco was doing. That's why Warner went out there and did all that talking shit, and then got plastered. We're going to come in there and we're going to kick their ass. Okay, well you're thinking the Lions of 2008 or something, because you ain't thinking about these Lions, bro. You don't know what these Lions are capable of. Yeah, and I think that's a generalization for all the league.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. You know what teams have done in the past. Once they start that winning culture and they've got a taste of what it's like to be on top, they are going to push themselves harder, faster, stronger to maintain that. Dan Campbell has created that culture in Detroit. You guys are not going to be a basement dweller again. If you do, you've lost your whole team. St. Brown got traded. Hutchinson there no more.
Campbell's
Jared
not
Goff
coaching.
is done.
Campbell's not coaching.
Sheila doesn't own a team anymore.
Yeah, I'm just saying, everything that you guys have built in that organization is going to be long lasting. You're not going to be the Cleveland Browns of the NFC North. You're not. Right. Chicago is going to be there. That's where they're going to sit until they figure out their shit and keep a coach for more than 16 games. Minnesota has always been kind of a one year we're great, 1 year we're mediocre, 1 year we're in the playoffs, 1 year we're not. I think this is Kevin O'Connell's third year. I think he's really trying to build that chemistry like Dan Campbell did. Young coaches that come in that are player orientated, that are driven, that are not sitting back and just, coaching like Mike Zimmer used to do or Bellamy did, places like that. Whenever you have a coach that believes in this team and players that believe in their coach, like you guys have players on your team that I've watched them say, I will run through a brick wall with fucking razor blades for Dan Campbell. Vikings players are saying the exact same thing. We're building a culture the same as you built a culture. So for the next, I would say 5 to 6 years, it's going to be this right here. Minnesota, Detroit, clashing for the NFC North. Green Bay, they're mediocre. They got a lot of shit to figure out. Chicago is a fucking dumpster fire, and until they get a culture and until they get people that are going to want to stay there and battle through the shitty seasons. Look at what Dan Campbell did his first year. You guys didn't make the playoffs. It was a shitty year. He came back and said, we ain't going to do this again. We're going to work hard. Season ended. He had people at the facility the next day working. Okay. That's what's building Detroit Lions football, is a coach who gives a fuck. Hey, you know what that felt like, right? You know what it felt like, the pain of defeat. We're not making the playoffs. Our fans are disappointed. I'm disappointed. Next year you guys came out, playoff team. Year after that, playoff team. NFC Championship game. 1 win away from going to the Super Bowl. This year, 14-2, championship caliber team. That's what a good coach, and here's the word I'm going to say, and B, you heard it say it a lot of time, continuity. Once a team has continuity and it trickles down from, the owners all the way down to the dude who brings you your jock strap. If you all believe and you think that this team is going to do it, you're going to do it.
Yep.
No, you're right. You're right. And I also think too, we can't discredit Brad. I mean, Brad was the architect of this team. Like, listen, Dan inherited a really shitty team.
He did.
They went 3-13, and if it wasn't for that rookie class that Brad brought in, I don't know if this team is where we are. And so it's got to be the combination of not only Dan's leadership and the ability to build up these players and build their confidence, because when you come to Detroit, all you know is losing.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of the players knew. Is all they knew was losing.
Yeah.
And so to change that mentality to winning, to all you know is winning, then that's huge. And then you got Brad, who brings in the talent, and him and Brad are tied to the hip. Like, this is, you want to know why teams are not successful in the NFL? It's because they don't have continuity with their GM and their coach.
Exactly.
Brad and Dan are like a couple.
Yeah.
They literally are. They think alike, they act alike, they look alike. They're huge dudes. They both played football. When it comes to picking players, it's almost like Dan reads Brad's mind and Brad reads Dan's mind. Sometimes they don't always agree on everything.
Yeah.
And they have a discussion about it. But that's what works. That's what makes this team whole.
Absolutely.
You don't have that with a lot of organizations.
How many times in our lives, guys, and I know you've been Lions fans, ever since you came out the womb. I've been a Vikings fan ever since I came out the womb. When was the last time you were listening to NFL players say, man, I'd love to play in Detroit, or I'd love to play in Minnesota?
Not till Dan came.
Not till KOC. We lost more players because of Mike Zimmer. Kendricks, prime example, best linebacker in the fucking league. 3-time Pro Bowler, came out and took less money to go play in Dallas because he did not want to play for Mike Zimmer. And then
Mike Zimmer goes to Dallas.
Mike Zimmer, he's a DC in Dallas.
Exactly. And that's what he hated. Mike Zimmer was toxic.
Was it Zimmer or was it more the organization?
It was Zimmer.
It sounds like
all these players came out and said, fuck Mike Zimmer. He's a piece of shit. Justin Jefferson, the reason why he held out is because there was the fact of Mike Zimmer. He did not want to play for him. Quarterbacks didn't want to play for Mike Zimmer. People did not want to play for him. Adam Thielen left because of Mike Zimmer. It wasn't because of money. It's just like at your work, guys. Great employees don't leave great jobs because they're unhappy or they're happy. They leave because there's something wrong with management.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to leave. How many jobs have you had that you absolutely love working there, but you couldn't stand your fucking boss because he was a prick or he was an asshole or he talked down to you or made you feel of a less of a human than you actually were? That was the negativity in that locker room.
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson came out and said, I'd have loved to stay with Minnesota, but I couldn't stand Mike Zimmer. Look at all of them. And now all of a sudden Zimmer's gone. Now we have that continuity. We're building on something. We're steamrolling. When Tricky Rick, left, I was like, oh, we're fucked. Who the fuck is this Kwasi guy? Where did he come from? Never heard of him before. All of a sudden he come in, he's doing, good things. We have to believe. You guys have to believe. Yeah. We believe.
Yeah.
And we've had the numerous conversations. Teams who don't have rollover are teams that are successful because you're building on something. You don't want to go into work tomorrow and see 10 new faces and relationships that you've built that are not there no more. And now all of a sudden you got to start over.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why you see a guy like Brad Holmes, instead of going out for those big free agent splashes, he goes out and pays the guys who have been there since 2021 when they first started, and he rewards them. And they should be rewarded. They're some of the best players in the NFL.
You know something, Nate? You said something a couple of minutes ago that I totally agree with. You said that it all changed with the first draft class we had. They laid that foundation. If you think about it, the Lions, their best players came from that draft. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell, right? Mm-hmm. 2 huge pieces for our offense. Main reasons why I say we are winning and so good on offense. When you look at a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he got picked in the 4th round. There were a bunch of receivers ahead of him. He came in with a chip on his shoulder because he knew he was good. He knew he was talented, and he had that work ethic that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell looked for. You look at Penei Sewell. Everything about Penei Sewell jumped off the charts. Everything about Penei Sewell from then until now. Going head-to-head with Aaron Donald multiple times and getting at him. Not giving up too many pressures or sacks since he's been
All-Pro last year. Probably on all-pro season this year.
We are looking when I look at a guy like Penei Sewell, I'm not just looking at one of the best tackles in the game. I'm looking at one of the best players in the game, fundamentally sound. You don't give up a lot of penalties. You don't give up a lot of sacks. His leadership, usually when you see like captains, you see defensive players, maybe the quarterback giving the speeches. When you go out there, you see Penei Sewell giving that speech. You see Penei Sewell rallying the troops and when
It's the passion. It's the passion and the intensity he brings to the
I will
table.
go as far as to say that Penei Sewell is possibly the best tackle that I've ever seen in my life since I've been following football. Penei Sewell is there.
He's up there. He's up there.
He's only what, 25?
24? 24, 25, yeah.
And with age and more experience, he's only going to get better and better and better. You know, and when he picked that next year, when Brad Holmes picked that next year, you look and they got Aiden Hutchinson, a hometown kid that know everything about this area, knew everything about the Lions' history, came in and wanted to change that instantly. You got the next pick, I want to say they picked Pascal in the second round. You got Kirby Joseph in that draft. All of that stemmed from
it speaks. Listen, if you want to be successful in this league, you got to do two things. You got to hire the right, three things. You got to hire the right coach. Check. We did that. You got to get the right quarterback. Check. You got that in Goff. And you got to get a GM that knows how to draft. Check. Like, honestly, like, we're never going back because Brad Holmes is not going to become a bad drafter just out of nowhere. I mean,
and you got to have an owner that trusts the process too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And knows how to stay out of the process too.
Hey, little off subject topic that I've been seeing a lot, of momentum building is, do you think that the Minnesota Vikings are going to trade JJ McCarthy?
Yeah, but for what?
I mean, I'm seeing 2 second rounders and a couple late drafts for him. Seattle is the biggest one that's interested because they're trying to move off of Geno Smith.
I'm not giving 2 second rounders for JJ McCarthy. He's never played.
I would.
And he's coming off an ACL.
And bad knees? No way. Hell no.
Yeah, and so
Seattle's
that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I'm seeing in a lot of my Vikings forums is that he's had 3 surgeries now. Nobody's disclosing a third. They went in and cleaned up some scar tissue, but it went in from a simple meniscus issue to a full MCL, ACL rebuild to a second surgery to now this third one. You know, I think they might just cut their losses and be done with it. And I think that's why they brought in Daniel Jones. I think they're going to franchise tag Sam, have Daniel Jones as a backup, and then see what transpires.
Here's my question for you on that. If you're Kwesi, okay, because he's the GM, he makes all the calls. I'm sure KOC has involvement in there too. If you have Sam Darnold, and he's still fairly young, you know, and you believe in the culture that you've created and that you can develop, because that's what the Lions did with Goff. We had nobody before Goff. I don't even know who the quarterback was. Stafford was. Well, yeah, but he was traded. He was gone. When Dan and Brad took over, we had no quarterback. So
you did. They traded Goff for Bradford. It was a flop.
Well, okay, fine, but we didn't know what we had in Goff. Is what I'm trying to say. Sean McVay threw him like yesterday's trash outside. So we didn't know what we had in him, but we believed in him enough to trade for him and get rid of a guy in Stafford who we love in this city. Okay, no bones about it. If Kwesi believed in Darnold that much, why draft McCarthy?
Well,
why not go for another position player or a tackle or something like that? Because look at it now. Now you're looking at a quarterback that you might not even be able to trade.
So we brought in Sam as a bridge quarterback. It was known. It wasn't, hey, we're signing him to a long-year deal. He's had a shitty run at the Jets. He had a shitty run at Carolina. You know,
that's fair.
That's San Francisco in that same McVay, Kevin O'Connell offense, where everybody, kind of grooms. He learned under Brock Purdy. He understood offenses. He got his mental health right. And he wouldn't have had a shot. We gave him a shot, and now Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback coach. He was a quarterback in this league for a lot of years. I think Josh McCown is really helped out in that quarterback room, as well. Mm-hmm. And now we see why Sam Darnold was drafted number 3 overall. He is performing and playing like he should have, like the Jets thought he was supposed to. But it reverts back to what we just got done talking about. If you don't have the chemistry, you don't have the coach, you don't have the GM, you don't have the quarterback coach, and everybody who believes in you and gives you an opportunity and builds an offense around your talents, you're going to be a shitty quarterback. The Detroit Lions revamped their offense around Jared Goff and his talent and his strengths. You know, they did things that he was comfortable with. If Jared Goff would have came in and ran the same offense and Stafford did, he would have been a mediocre quarterback like Stafford was. McVay did the same thing in the Rams. He rebuilt their offense around the quarterback. And that's what your team has done. That's what my team has done. And we've brought out the best of two quarterbacks who the league thought was washed up, and we're going to get rid of you.
Yeah, pretty much any quarterback that isn't named Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen.
Fuck Patrick Mahomes. I'm glad that motherfucker didn't make it to the Pro Bowl. Get a taste of reality.
Those guys are like guys that if they went
those are guys that
they can carry their team. They rarely need any weapons, but
I'm gonna put it to you this way. Sam Darnold flourishes in this offense because he has a lot of weapons. He has a good running game, a decent offensive line, really good receivers, and now he just got back a really good tight end, and you still have Oliver out there as a tight end. So it's not like your offense is just as good as the Lions offense. So as much both Conley and Ben Johnson, I'm not even going to say Dan Campbell because Dan Campbell is just the coach on our side. He's the guy to get you up. But Ben Johnson does the offensive calling. And the offense was built around Jared Goff, just like Conley is built the offense around Darnold. Well, actually, Darnold's already put himself into that position. So Darnold got the flip. If he goes to another team, if you guys go, don't franchise tag him or pay him or whatever, and he goes to another team, he's going to be the same down you've seen in the Jets in Carolina. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that.
That's what I was trying to prove.
Yeah. So, I mean, Goff is the same way. Goff has proved in the past when he played with the Rams that if you lose any element of your offense, you're going to start sucking. He's not, and to the point that Nate made, he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen, and he's not. Right. They're not going to be the type of quarterbacks that are going to make plays on their own. He's not even.
I mean, he was the number one pick.
Yeah. Stafford does that too. Stafford did that. He wasn't a mediocre quarterback. He was a good ass quarterback. He kept us in a lot of fucking games. But at the same time, there was no continuity when he was with the Lions. That was the problem.
Because
now Goff has that continuity.
You didn't have the GM and the ownership that
right.
No, exactly. Look what happened when Megatron left. Look what happened to Sam Darnold, or not Sam Darnold, but Jared Goff. Or I mean, Stafford.
Stafford actually did better when Calvin left.
The problem is they didn't have a defense. They didn't have a defense.
They never have a running game. They never had a damn running game either.
One thing I didn't like about Stafford is Stafford force-fed Calvin Johnson the ball. Wow, Calvin Johnson is one of the ever. He just force-fed him the ball. It'd be not 10, not 11, 12, but he had 15 plus targets per game, and that was based. Their whole offense was predicated on Calvin Johnson, and it's like
I'm sorry, there's nothing wrong with that. If you
got
the best wide receiver in the league, 6 foot wide, dude can jump out of the stadium. Fuck yeah, I'm throwing him the ball every damn time. Especially when he's being covered like by 4 guys.
Cornerback. Who was his counterpart?
Nate Burleson. Golden Tate for a year. Golden Tate for a year.
He had 2 years?
And that was a year that they went to the championship where they got jacked over by the referees in Dallas. But
let's not talk about that.
and I mean, Pettigrew as a tight end.
That was my biggest gripe on him. And something really quick, I don't want to open up old wounds, but the Lions passed on a lot of good talents on both sides of the ball.
Yes, they have.
To help Matthew Stafford out. You passed on Aaron Donald to get freaking Ebron. Who does that? And everybody knew Aaron Donald.
The Lions.
Dumb management.
You understand what I'm saying? And
man, I'm right there. I'm right there in the same boat with you, Jay. We gave up 8 first-round draft picks for fucking Herschel Walker, which produced Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Nate Newton,
Mm-hmm.
Jay Novacek. I mean, look at what we all gave up. I mean, now, would have Minnesota have drafted them people? I don't know. But our draft picks is what won Dallas all them Super Bowls. Because
moral of the story, you don't do that.
Yeah. And that
trade the
I
farm.
firmly believe that was done to completely implode that team because Red McCombs wanted to move the Vikings to San Antonio. So let's just go ahead and give up the farm for a running back that had one punt return for us or one kickoff return. And he ran out of his shoe. I mean, he was horrible here.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
all right, y'all. We're gonna turn back to the game. We're getting a little down the rabbit holes here.
Horrible.
Let's talk about. Okay, so Michael, do you have your injury report? Who's in, who's out for y'all?
I don't. Hang on one second. Let me look real quick.
I know Jones is out thanks to Green Bay.
Pat Jones, yeah.
That's horrible.
What'd you think about that? What'd you think about that? Kraft hitting them low like that. Now,
and no flag.
And see, let me tell you something. In the same week that came out, Kraft did that dumb shit, and he went really low on him. Hawkinson was the one that said it wasn't Kirby's fault that he got hurt. It was the NFL's fault, which is true because the NFL is forcing defenders to make different tackles now because they've taken defense practically out of the game.
Yeah, you can't hit him high. You can't hit it too low.
But that Kraft hit, that was lower than anything I've ever seen Kirby hit anybody at. He was going for his ankles.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Kraft never came out and apologized. Kirby Joseph, when he hit Hawkinson and hurt him, Kirby Joseph was on a knee next to him and came out publicly and apologized. Hey man, it wasn't on purpose. I'm sorry. I love you like a brother. We played for a lot of years together. It was nothing malicious.
Yeah, he's not a malicious player. Like people calling him dirty is just outrageous. They need to watch football and realize that that's the new tackling.
All of us can thank Tom Brady for this shit, and there's dirty players. There's shit that happens in the game, roll ups, people get hurt. It's part of the game. Yeah. But that he had been doing it the whole game. He'd been going low the whole game.
I don't want to put it on a player. Onus on a player. It's Goodell's fault. Goodell has sissified this league. He's made it sugary soft. That's why the hell he wants to move shit to NFL, to Europe, because they play sugary soft shit over there too. I ain't got no time.
They want to sell offensive tickets. They don't care
about
the
Paul
defense.
Tagliabue? And he's probably he's in a grave now. But Paul Tagliabue was the guy. That dude didn't give a two shit. I mean, he wanted to make money too. The NFL was making money hands over a fist when he was the guy.
Shit.
And
Roselle,
it's a gladiator. It's a gladiator sport. You're gonna get hurt. It's just like all these people talking about the little things on the heads of these players. They go, oh, people are talking about them because they're gonna get a concussion if they got that damn thing on. It is a gladiator sport. People get hurt. Fucking wise up on it. Okay.
All right. Let's get back to the game. All right.
So
Pat Jones is the only one that was out. Everybody else that was on the injury report was limited. Everybody.
Ruger Hill is good.
Huh?
Ruger Hill is good too.
Yeah,
he
Ruger's
was
good.
Questionable.
And Aaron Jones was a full participant. And the only thing that I'm kind of skeptical on, because the Vikings brought in 3 punters this week. So I'm not sure if there's something going on with our punter and our place kick holder. I don't know what's up with that.
Okay.
But he's not on an injury report, so I don't know if Wright there's something up with him or what's going on.
Okay.
Relatively healthy then.
Yeah,
something to look at. Okay. So for the Lions, David Montgomery is out. Mosley is out. Alex is questionable. I believe Khalif is questionable, right? And who else is questionable? Who am I missing?
Also, the other running back, Craig Reynolds is.
Oh, Craig Reynolds. Okay. Yeah.
And
there was only 3 questions.
What about Christian Mahogany?
Christian Mahogany was good. He's full participant. Who's the other questionable? Khalif Raymond, Craig Reynolds. Amik he's gonna.
Yeah, he's good. He was on it.
Yeah, he was a full practice. So it's not bad. I don't know what's going on with Emmanuel Mosley. Emmanuel Mosley,
Yeah.
They got to figure out something to do with him. Either let the guy go or play him. I know
I
he's
think it
sick
will-
right now. I know he's sick right now, personal reasons or whatever the case may be. But damn, you had him for 3 weeks and you still didn't use him. I don't understand that whole situation.
I think it will be determined after the season's over what's going to happen with that.
The Vikings did sign Daniel Jones to the active roster, which means that he's going to have to be traded or a compensation pick for him now. So he is on the active.
Oh yeah, that was expected. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So is he on number 2?
I believe so. He's been in our system now for 3 weeks, so I think he knows it now. So I think he will be our backup.
Okay. I do want to ask this question because you are a Vikings fan, because I'm kind of curious, because when Daniel Jones got signed, when y'all traded for Daniel Jones, or did he trade, or did you get him off waivers?
We picked him up in free agency off waivers.
Okay, got him off waivers. Okay, gotcha. Okay, did y'all do that in order to have leverage when you go to the table with Sam Darnold?
Forgot about that.
I think we did it because of the uncertainty of J.J. McCarthy. Because I believe I'm a fan that wants to see a rookie quarterback progress. I don't believe in throwing these young kids to the wolves, because 9 times out of 10 the shit don't work. Jalen Daniels is an exception to the rule. Caleb, if you look at Caleb Williams and you look at Jaden Daniels, their numbers are pretty damn similar. Mm-hmm. But you have a team that is playing in the NFC East versus NFC North. If them roles were reversed, I think that the outcome would be the same. But they get hurt. They don't understand pro football. They've been used to throwing the ball down the field, have all these accolades. Look how good I was at LSU, Heisman, all that shit. And a perfect example of that is Baker Mayfield. You put him in Cleveland and he was mediocre. Heisman winner, great, everything at.
You got him to the playoffs after they hadn't been in the playoffs for a long.
Playoffs, and they
kicked him aside like he wasn't shit.
Yeah, like he wasn't shit because all of a sudden he went through that sophomore blues. I think Jaden Daniels next year is going to be mediocre. That team is going to be mediocre. Anyway, to get back to your question, yes, I think it was a leverage pull, by pulling him in because, hey, look, either you're going to play with us or I've got a quarterback in the wings right now who will bridge for me, that has playoff experience, that, you put him in the right environment like Sam Darnold, like Goff, he's going to excel. And that's just what the Vikings do. We revamp quarterbacks' careers. And it goes all the way back to Randall Cunningham, Warren Moon. We take all these quarterbacks who didn't do shit, for the last couple of years of their career. You bring them in here, and all of a sudden they're like MVP caliber quarterbacks. Brett Favre, he was washed up in Green Bay, washed up in New York Jets. Come here, we were one pass away from making it to the to the world to the
one interception.
One, yeah.
One stupid ass interception too.
Yeah, but that's Brett Favre-esque. He did this his whole career. Yeah. But then Bountygate came out, and we realized what happened in that game, and why it was the way it was. But yes, Daniel Jones is a power move, because we have to have some form of a good, experienced NFL quarterback if we're going to stay on the push that we're on, and we're going to bridge McCarthy. If we don't get rid of McCarthy, and we keep him, I think we get rid of Rippon and we get rid of Mullins, and I think we have Daniel Jones, and I think we're going to franchise Sam Darnold and see, because here's the thing. We franchise him and he comes out and plays again next year like he did this year, we have our franchise quarterback.
But you're also going to have to pay a lot more money for him too.
If we franchise him and he comes out and it's the old Sam Darnold, then we can cut our losses and then have Daniel Jones and JJ McCarthy, so that I think it's a safety net more or less than anything else.
Yeah. That's kind of thought process I had, but you got to be careful with that situation, because if you feel like he's your quarterback, pay him. Look at what we did with Goff. We felt Goff was going to be our guy. We paid him
after 2 years.
Yeah,
this is our first year.
But I think they already knew it. It was the matter of getting the money right,
Yeah.
because they had to, because I mean, they've instilled belief in Goff all his whole career in Detroit.
We have a lot of free agents this year and a lot on
Yeah,
our
I know.
defense.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I think that we need to sew up our defense, and I think we need to sew up our running game.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, if we got money left over and Sam truly wants to stay in Minnesota, like he said, I think he'll accept the franchise tag as another prove me year and then kind of go from there.
Interesting. I don't know, man. It's going to be hard to keep Sam in a franchise tag when teams are offering him long-term deals, because there's going to be a handful of teams that need a starting quarterback. So, I mean, you might have to push the hand of having to pay him now and let some of those guys that on defense walk, and then just hopefully draft better.
I mean, we'll see. I think Sam will be there next year. I think they, at minimum, they're going to franchise tag him. At best, I think they give him a multi-year deal with team control after the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
have you paid Jefferson already?
Yeah, Jefferson's locked up.
They paid Jefferson. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, Jefferson's locked up. Addison's on a rookie deal. Rager's on a 3-year deal. Hawkinson's still locked up. Aaron Jones is a free agent, so I think they're going to end up signing him again because he came out and said he wants to retire in Minnesota. Because all these players are bought into what they're doing. Same as Detroit. They don't want to leave. People want to play in our two teams now, which is heartwarming because nobody wanted to come to Minnesota. Nobody wanted to go to Detroit. We were just the way it was. Last time people wanted to come to Minnesota was 88 or 98. And what was it, 04, 05?
Yeah, it's been a while. All right, well, let's get into the matchups. Let's talk about what we want to see in this game. So we'll let you go first, Michael. What are your keys to victory for y'all? Like, what do you mentioned controlling the ball, but give me more specific details of what matchups you're looking at. What are you looking to exploit? What do you think is going to happen?
The biggest thing for me is our cornerback play. We can't give up big chunk plays. Kind of like what we touched about with Brian Flores blitzing. We have to be able to maintain, coverage in them blitzes because St. Brown is a beast, dude. I mean, he is your Justin Jefferson, and he is a great wide receiver who's got so much talent, and you can utilize him in so many different positions. If we don't stop Jared Goff from throwing the ball down the field, it's going to be a long day. We need to establish the defensive line. And then on offense, we need to get Justin Jefferson and Addison involved early. And once that happens and we start getting, some play, it's going to be, double team on Jefferson more than likely the rest of the game, which is going to free up, underneath play. We just need to play four phases of football. And, if we do that, it's going to be a good game.
All right. B, talk to me about it. What do the Lions have to do? What does their execution look like? What matchups are you looking to exploit on Minnesota?
I think the Lions have to just do what they do all the time in the offense. I'm not even going to fuck with the offense because the offense, it don't make a difference what defense they play.
You can talk about the offense. I'll let B talk about the defense if he's there.
The offense.
What does the defense have to do to exploit?
The defense Minnesota really has to contain Hawkinson. I think that's a key point. I think Hawkinson is, they're going to try to contain Jefferson so much that they do the cornerback and the safety drop on him that, you got Hawkinson out there. You can't – Hawkinson is a good-ass tight end. He used to be our tight end. We used to talk shit about him. We talk shit about him because he plays for Minnesota now, but he is a good tight end.
Yeah, he's a good tight end for sure.
He's a really good tight end. He's got to be like top 5.
He's basically like a receiver. He's a receiving tight end.
So
that's what he is.
he still is a good player, and you need to go out there and defend him. You got to watch Oliver sneaking out sometimes. That's another guy. I'm not worried about Naylor too much because if they bring in Brian Branch to be the nickel, Brian Branch usually pretty much shuts down anybody in that nickel area. I can't say that for Amik, but I can say that definitely for Brian Branch. But Hawkinson's going to be a key point in this team. I think Aaron Jones is going to be enough to contain.
This is Hawk's first game back to Detroit since he got hurt.
Yeah.
his last game in Detroit. So
Sure.
this is going to be a pretty emotional game for him, coming back, to where he got hurt and where he spent all them years with this much on the line too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just got to slap him and say you should have stayed with us. But no, I'm just kidding.
I'm happy with Laporta, man. Laporta has been great.
But yeah, I really think that the offense for Minnesota is going to be is going to score a lot of points against us. They're going to have to really get Hockenson involved. I understand that you think Addison and Jefferson, but Jefferson is like Michael Jordan. He's going to get his point. He's going to get his yards. He's going to get his points. Addison is a different story. It depends on, how good Meek can cover Addison, because I'm pretty sure they're going to have Arnold on Jefferson, which is going to be a school day basically for Jefferson. But
get the rookie some reps.
Meek is going to have to really do a good job on Addison. But I think Hockenson is the key to this, this defense, that them shutting him down. Because if Hockenson gets off, if he gets over 100 yards, there's a pretty good chance the Lions might not be on the winning end of this whole thing. Mm-hmm. But because you can't let that tight end do that. Mm-hmm. And he's the best tight end we've played besides. And Kittle was playing like half. They did a pretty good job on Kittle against San Francisco, but they weren't playing for shit. When you have a team that's playing for something and everybody's actually two steps from what they were, what they usually are, So like Hockenson, he's a great tight end, but he's going to be an elite tight end in this game. Justin Jefferson is going to be elite. Addison's going to be up there. All these players are going to raise their level of play because of what's on the line.
I'll say one thing about the tight end situation. Like with the Kittle situation, let's be honest, you have nobody's out there guarding Kittle. I mean, they look lost at times on defense. Getting Alex back is going to help because Alex can match Hockenson kind of foot speed. Now, how aggressive and how much he's going to be engaged because he hasn't played in a while, it's going to take some time. So, yeah, you're right. Hockenson is definitely going to be a fit to deal with because the thing is that, the Lions haven't played a lot of tight ends of that caliber since Kittle was the first one probably of the season. And so, it's going to be important to contain him as best as possible. Jay, talk to me about what the offense has got to do.
I think the offense has to go on long drives. They got to keep the ball away from Minnesota. Do not go 3 and out. I think Minnesota has 31 takeaways. I think second only behind the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, and they're tied with the Bills. So do not fumble the ball. Jared Goff has to protect the ball.
Ball control's got to be a big thing for
big
sure.
Thing, huge thing, and I think that I want to see a supersonic day from Jahmyr Gibbs. I want to see him go off 150 yards, 20 something carries. I want to see Craig Reynolds and Sione Vaki get a couple carries in there as well. I know Jamar Jefferson has stepped up and played a good role, ever since he went down.
I'm glad you said Gibbs real quick. I'm going to just throw this in there.
Yeah, sure.
We talk about Jefferson. Jefferson's going to be a handful for us. We know that already. Rookie quarterback. Last time they played, CD was playing him and he got torched. So you got a rookie quarterback as barbecue chicken. So Jefferson's going to get his. The player that Minnesota needs to really be worried about is Jahmyr Gibbs, because Jahmyr Gibbs gets off on Minnesota every game. Huh? Oh, I think he's meant Jamal Williams. But Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, is the key of the offense. If Jahmyr Gibbs, because the one thing about Jahmyr Gibbs, if you watch him lately, they're using him a lot more outside of the running game. They're using him kind of in the Aaron Jones type of role. And when you get Gibby in space, good luck.
Yeah. And that's my biggest fear too, is once your running backs get to that second level, because we're going to be concentrating on your receivers, Laporta, everything else like that. If your running backs get into that second level, it's going to be a long day. But if we can contain it, so like Minnesota does well against power runners. We did well against Jacobs, against Green Bay. We did well against Chicago. It's them little bowling ball motherfuckers who are 5'9", hiding behind the line and got four flat.
We don't have that in this game. Well, Craig, I guess, in some aspects.
But that's what I'm saying. We've never done well against small running backs. Yeah. And it was kind of like Blake Corum when we played, LA. Them little guys that hide behind the offensive line and that are slashers and sneaky and can bounce. Right. If we contain on the line and you guys spin and bounce to the outside, well, you've already sucked all of our corners back. Our linebackers are pushing forward. Now we've got outside the hashes wide open, and that's where them big run chunk plays come. That's my biggest fear, because you got that running back, issue, not issue, but you've got a good backfield, and that's going to be if your running game is established, like you say, we're going to.
Well, we don't have Monty, man. I mean, you're counting Monty. That's a big.
But Gibbs has been a great running back.
Oh yeah. Gibbs is great, yeah, for sure.
But the only difference, I mean, you guys had probably the best backfield in the league. That 1-2 combo is phenomenal. We're trying to do it with Cam Akers and Aaron Jones. It's working out well, but what you had, every team wishes they had.
Yeah. This is a Monty. This is. I really wish Monty was able to play this game because
I'm glad. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you have more Gibby now. So I think also with this Lions offense, it's going to get guys in space. Because getting Gibby in space, getting Laporta in space, getting JMO in space, I don't think your guys can match in foot speed to foot speed. And so it's going to be paramount for Ben to do that, because I do think we could struggle on the run a little bit, because Gibby is not he's gotten better at the inside runs, but he's not a really inside runner. Yeah. He's more of
outside inside run. You guys will have success on the outside. And going back to one key that I forgot to mention is it's going to be a make or break day for Stephon Gilmore. If he comes out as defensive player of the year like he was a couple years ago and plays good ball like that, we're going to be okay. But if he comes out playing like he did 70% of the year, see why it's noon here and I'm already drinking. So
who's Stephon Gilmore going to look in the guard?
Well, he's going to have to go up against Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to put him, he's considered our number one DB. So they're going to match him up, which I don't think is a good idea.
Internet's struggling with everybody today. B. So let's go back to the defense. Getting Iffy back. Is he back? Are you back?
I'm back.
Okay, cool. All right. So you think Stephon Gilmore is probably going to be the impact player that you're gonna, is gonna make or break your defense?
I do because everybody else is pretty stout. I mean, I think Shaq Griffin is gonna have a good role today. Harrison Smith, I mean, he's the pillar of our defense. He has been for a lot of years. I'm gonna hate to see him leave, this year. I don't think Minnesota's gonna bring him back. The biggest thing for me is it's going to be Stephon Gilmore and Ivan Pace Jr. Are going to be my two pinnacle guys that have to play the best game of their career today to push us into the
Pace is the one that got the touchdown return on the Monty fumble last game, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He was the one. Yeah. Number 0, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
There you go. Jay, you keep popping in and out, but let me ask you this question. How much of a factor does JMO have to be in this game?
Huge factor. You're going to have one of his best games because I know one thing that he does very well is take the top off of defenses. And if you can take the top off of defense, I think that opened up the doors for Laporta to get open, St. Brown to get open, maybe even Tim Patrick. You may see a Tim Patrick catch touchdown probably today. So I think that's going to be
Patrick's been playing well.
I think he's going to have to be second most important part of the offense today. When we need to get a score, like if we're tied up and it's getting or we're down a score or something like that, we're gonna need JMO come through with a big play. That's if we're playing from behind. So many different scenarios can play out, man. It's going to be a very hard fought game. It's really hard for me to even pick the game, really, to be honest with you.
Special teams has got to be a lot better
Very
for the Lions.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna improve. I mean, with Khalif being on there now because he's gonna be doing kick returns, I think that that'll improve that aspect. But I really, man, San Francisco was coming out to the 30, to the 35, to the 40-yard line on that. I hadn't seen that in a while. So the special teams got to tighten it up. Pip's got to get into their ass about that. Because we can't afford to have a short field against Minnesota. And we already got, halfway banged up defense. We can't do that. We can't put Minnesota in any position to.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So special teams really got to do their job.
Well, guys, I'm going to hop off here. I'm going to watch this Buccaneers game. I've got money on this one. So
give us your prediction, your bold take, and give us your offensive and defensive MVP. I appreciate you coming on the show.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me. It's always a good time. I appreciate you guys' candor. I appreciate your knowledge of football. I appreciate the no bullshit shit talking about everything. It's all factual.
We don't do that.
It's facts. And, it's for the love of the game. I appreciate how much you love and support your Lions. And I know you guys appreciate how much I love and support my Vikings. And that's what makes it fun. My offensive MVP is going to be Sam Darnold. It's all going to reflect around him and what he does. And my defensive MVP is going to be Ivan Pace Jr. He's going to set the pinnacle on what's going to happen in the middle of that field. He's going to have to call a really good defensive game. He does wear the green dot, for the Minnesota Vikings. Gennard's going to get his. Cashman's going to get his. That's what it's going to be. My prediction is I think it's going to be a mediocre, score. I don't think we're going to run it up on each other. I'm going to take the Vikings 32-30 on a last-second field goal. I mean, that's how close it's going to be.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and go Lions.
Go Vikes.
All right. All right. That was fun. So let's talk about it, y'all. Give me your predictions. How you feeling?
You want to go first?
Go. Either one.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, my prediction, I think, is going to be like a 27-22 type game. Like Mike said, I don't think that they're going to run a score up on each other. This is going to be a hard-fought game. I don't think
14-2, everything on the line. I'd be shocked if it goes either way.
Having to go blow for blow in a game like this is just not idealistic, considering how both high power we are. Right? Nobody's going to go for the knockout punch. So I'm going to say 27-22 Lions. I think my offensive MVP is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I said, he has to set the tone. He got to be out there averaging 6 yards a carry. You got to have him that defense off balance and really try not to put the ball in danger. I mean, we know Jahmyr Gibbs had to take on a big role ever since Montgomery went down. So I want to say 22 carries, 160 yards, and a touchdown.
Damn. Woo, I like it. I like it, man.
Gibbs, he needs to go off today, seriously.
Yeah, and he's shown he can do that. And he's shown he can do it against that defense.
Yep. And the reason why I say 160, I know everybody like, what? Wait, wow, that's a lot. I'm telling you, he's going to have a hell of a day today.
I'll tell you the fantasy implications there.
Yep. And can I give you a defensive MVP?
Yeah, go for it.
Defensive MVP, I'm going to say Terry Arnold. He's going to have to step up. He's going to have to step up today. We know this is the last game of the regular season in his rookie year. He has to go out there and he has to make an impact. While I heard earlier, what was it, yesterday or the day before, that Amik Robertson will be the one really taking on the bulk of the load of guarding Justin Jefferson, he still has to line up, and Justin Jefferson can be on any side of the field.
And this is why you draft TA, man, for these moments.
You're going to have
why
to
you got him.
I'm going to say he gets at least 2 pass deflections. I'm going to say he gets an interception. Crucial interception. Won't be hurt. Going to be Terry and Arnold, and that's my prediction. Go Lions.
Right on. B, what you got?
So I'm looking at. There's 2 ways this game can kind of go. I'm thinking that, I mean, if we stick to the script of it being nobody blowing anybody out, it'll be 31-28 Lions to me.
Okay.
But I do have a feeling that it's going to get not out of hand in the sense of a blowout type of thing. More of a sense that it could be a 40-31 game or 40-30 game, depending on how they play Sam Darnold. If they start getting to Sam Darnold, just like with any quarterback, you rattle a quarterback. I think they're going to get to Sam Darnold this game. I do. I really think they're going to get to him too. And so I think they're going to get, at least a couple of sacks. My offensive MVP will probably be Amon St. Brown. Probably about, I would say about 5 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown.
Woo! Love it.
My defensive MVP is going to be Kirby again, because Kirby's going to pick another ball. Kirby's going to basically stay up there.
Kirby could literally have a pick every game, man. I think there's games where he's dropped a pick or he's been right in the situation where he could have picked it off.
9 interceptions. More than 19. He's got more interceptions than 9 teams total have.
You need to put that 1-0 right there in front of it.
That's right. It's going to be 10.
Hey, if Kirby, quick question. If Kirby, let's say, had 2 interceptions in this game, is he defensive player of the year?
I'd say yes, but I don't think the league would give it to him. Definitely.
Who's playing better than him?
Definitely Kirby Joseph, man. I don't think there's a defensive player.
And it's not just the interceptions; it's PFF grades.
He won't get it because corners will usually get the defensive player of the year. It's usually a
Bland did. Didn't Bland get it last year?
Well, yeah, he had 12 interceptions. Well, I don't think he got it the year before. Diggs got it. And he had like 10 interceptions or something like that. So, I mean, Diggs. And then Bland was after him, and I think Bland got 12, and I don't think he got player of the year, defensive player of the year.
Wishful thinking. I mean, I think in this big of a game, if he can come up with some huge plays that are game changers, I think he should.
And I think that's what's gonna separate the men for the boys. I think the underestimation of the defense. I'm not saying the Vikings are going to underestimate the defense, but the perception of the fact that the Detroit's defense is bad. Every analyst in America basically is saying that the defense is not going to carry its weight against Minnesota. And that's the reason why Minnesota is going to win this game. But they've been playing with the same defense the last, 8 or 9, 10 weeks. And they lost one game since.
And they have yet to really play a really good game since all those injuries happened. So
they're not going to play a good game. They're not going to play a good game with that because there's no continuity in those plays. You're playing different players every game. The fact that they're playing at the level that they're playing, yes, they're giving up a lot of yards. Yes, they make these games interesting in the beginning, but it's usually in the end. This is why I tell you guys, every time you see the score getting run up, I said it ain't about how you start the game, it's about how you finish the game. And that's exactly what the Lions defense does. They might start off looking like trash, but then they end up.
Man. We need to get off the fast start on both sides.
They end up looking like the number 2 defense in the league or the number 1 defense in the league at the end of the day because they done stopped them, in the second half. So AG's got these guys playing. Dan Campbell's got these guys playing. Let's go. I just think that Minnesota's just. I like Minnesota. And Minnesota is one of my dark horse teams. I like them, and I hope for the fact that if they get a 5th seed, they play the teams that they play and they beat them because I would love to play them again. I would. These are fun games. No,
it's hard to beat a team 4 times in a row.
It's
hard to beat a team 4 times in a row.
Well, this will be the 4th time in a row if we beat them. So think about that. It's not hard to beat them. Beat these teams. You got to have the mentality to do that. And only when people tell you that stuff and you believe that mentality, you're going to lose that game because you ain't a good fucking football team.
If the Lions win this game, I'm tired of NFC North teams. We swept literally 3 teams in the same division. I'd love to see that.
4 teams.
Well, Nate called it.
3.
Oh, yeah, 3. You're right. 3.
Yeah, 3.
Nate called it.
15-2. Sweep the North, baby. So I'm sticking with it. Let's go.
Let's freaking
go, man. Give me a bold prediction real quick. Go
ahead. Bold prediction.
Make it good.
I'm going to say I'm going to keep on the level of what I was talking about earlier with Sam Darnold. I say the Lions get 3 sacks on Sam Darnold.
Ooh,
1 for a fumble.
Ooh, that's big. That's big because that means that's change of possession. That's huge.
Bold prediction. I'm going to say the Lions get 4 sacks. 2 coming from no one other than Zadarius Smith. Let's go.
Okay. All right, let's go. All right. So mine is going to be Lions 45, Vikings 42. I think that it's going to be a very close game. I think both offenses are going to go off. And I think that the Lions win on a game-winning field goal because we got Money Bates. And he's been balling out. Offensive MVP, I'm going to go J-Mo. I think J-Mo really shines in this game. I'm going to say about 5 catches, $150 in a tug. Yeah, I don't think the secondary is going to be able to guard J-Mo, especially if he, like Mike said, they're going to play man. Good luck with that one, buddy. And then defensive MVP, I'm going Zadarius, baby. I need Zadarius to show up, bro. Zadarius, I know you're not watching this, but dude, show up, bro. Like you say you play well against the rivals. Let's see it, man. You did it. You made that 1 sack against the Packers, and we didn't see a sack the rest of the game. I need you to show up early and often, man. I really do, man, because you're the key to this defense's success outside of the players we already have. Like we have to get pressure on Darnold all game, all day. And then my bold take is, I don't really say bold take really on that one. I just thought about it. I was like, that's not really a bold take. My bold take will be, damn, this is really bold. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all really ready for this?
Let's do it.
I know you're gonna laugh when I say this.
Hey, that's why it's a bold take, man.
All right, this is bold as it gets, bro. As bold as it gets. We will not see a gritty by Justin Jefferson today.
That's not really a bad bold take because he
I
hasn't.
don't know.
No, there's a couple of games he hasn't scored, and we played him.
Well,
in important games too.
Yeah,
they're going to be leaning on him heavily today.
Oh, I know.
They're going to be leaning on
I
him.
know. That's why it's a bold. That's why it's a bold take. We will not see a gritty because I can't stand that dance. Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, we have 6 hours, 8 hours. What's up, B?
So just to get out, now that we presented what we're going to be, what's going on in this game, just want to bring up some things. The Lions, basically, the first team in NFL history to have two running backs and 2 wide receivers to produce at least 1,000-yard scrimmage in a single season. Amazing. No team has done that.
And Monty would have had over 1,000 yards himself if he wouldn't get hurt. Like that's impressive.
Yeah, but and it's still impressive because no other team has done it. So
yeah, Monty isn't Monty lead the team in 12 touchdowns, or is it Gibby? Gibby has no. Gibby.
I think
16,
Gibby.
Right?
All-purpose touchdowns. I think all-purpose.
Well, all-purpose is Gibby. Yeah,
I think he's got 13 rushing touchdowns though.
Okay.
Damn, that's impressive, man.
Yeah.
I'll throw another. Oh, go ahead.
Whoops. This is the other thing too. We've had. I don't really believe in Pro Bowl selections and stuff like that, but
it's a good award.
Since we got them,
we're gonna be playing the Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter.
These are the 5 guys on offense that won the got in the Pro Bowl. They're not going to be playing, but they're well deserved. Yes, everybody on there. That's great.
Ziegler could have been in there too, but I don't think anybody knew who the hell he was.
They know who he was. It's just, and you know what? If you look at the Pro Bowl polls and what they finished at, every one of our offensive linemen finished at least top 2.
Oh, easy.
Every one of them. In fact, the guards and the tackles, guards and the tackles finished 1-2 in both in both of them. And Ragnar was second. And the only person that was ahead of him was Juergens from Philadelphia.
Where did Laporta finish in the voting?
He was
probably
second.
5th or 6th.
He was second.
Really?
Ooh,
wow. He was fourth. Fourth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then on our defense and special teams, although it should have been somebody else, but we had Brian Branch in special teams, Jack Fox. They both got a Pro Bowl.
Who the hell made it over Kirby?
I'm sorry. I love Brian Branch. Brian Branch is my guy. He's a dog. Yep. But Kirby was better than him this year.
Oh, yeah. Yep, for sure.
And Brian, and I mean, he was better than Brian Branch had a sophomore year. Brian Branch, he still played really good. Let's not take that away from him. But
Played well.
I've seen plays where Brian Branch was getting burned on some plays.
He's given us some touchdowns lately. He's got to clean that up for sure.
Yeah, he's getting away a little bit from what he was. I don't think he's, and you know what? I really don't think he's 100% either, physically. And not that any player is at this point in the season, but he really, shows. It shows on him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Who finished ahead of Kirby, or who finished ahead of who was Brian Branch along with?
Kirby. Kirby was second to Xavier McKinney.
I thought it would have been Xavier and Kirby in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, but Xavier made a Pro Bowl. Brian Branch, well, they go by strong and a free safety. So,
okay.
So free safety was McKinney, strong safety was Branch, and I think who was under Branch? I don't even remember who the hell was under Branch. I didn't really care anyway.
I know Kirby is going to take it personal. I guarantee you, because he takes his stuff personal, and on top of that, he lost $3 million because he didn't get to the Pro Bowl. So you messed somebody's food.
Well, that would be the most reason I would have a feeling. But I like his response to the whole situation. Though, said I don't give a fuck about a Pro Bowl. I'm trying to get to the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically, if you go to the Super Bowl, you're not playing in the Pro Bowl. So hey,
right, so it's irrelevant anyway. So yeah, that's great. Oh, by the way, just to put you in on a little news, I wish Mike was still on. But a couple of Bleach Report and The Score news sources say that there's several teams that are interested in trading for Kevin O'Connell because his contract is up at the end of next year.
Oh,
so they want a head coach, and like I said, Kevin O'Connell is a decent to great head coach, man, in this league. He's a pretty good coach. If it wasn't for Dan Campbell, he would be one of the best coaches in the league. But
he's very highly respected.
Funny.
I think he finished ahead of Dan in when the players that poll. He was the most respected coach, I think, outside of Dan or behind below Dan. No, he was ahead of Dan. I'm sorry, he was ahead of Dan. Yeah, like I said on the show to Mike, the Vikings have had a great season, but they've got a lot of questions. A lot. Like I don't agree with what he said about we're gonna be doing this every year. I don't think so, man. I think Green Bay and Detroit are the ones that are going to be doing it every year. The Vikings, if they can keep Darnold, that's a start. But, dude, you look at their free agent list, they got a lot of players they got to pay, and they don't got a lot of money to do it. And then on top of that, I didn't know about the coach.
Question mark as well. Green Bay, they just haven't been what they used to be recently. Like you see that when they make nice runs, you automatically think that they are vintage Green Bay. But, I mean, really – they're a good team.
And one thing about Green Bay, as much as I hate to say it, Green Bay is good at drafting. I have not seen that from the Vikings. I mean, you look at the Vikings draft picks this year. I mean, you had McCarthy's not playing. Dallas Turner has come on, played better at the end. Kyrie Jackson passed away, rest in peace. Outside of that, I don't know who else is making an impact on that team. Kwesi is a horrible drafter, man. Like he has missed on a lot of draft picks, and Brad has taken his dinner to every time we've made a trade with him. Like we fleeced him on that Cockinson deal.
Brad's picks aren't all perfect either. But
he hits a lot more than Kwesi does.
Yeah, I mean, every team does different to their roster. Brad likes to draft players to be successful in our team, and that's the reason why I keep trying to tell y'all we are never trading a number one pick for anybody, unless they're like in their third year and they're putting up big ass numbers. That's the only way I see Brad trading for that, and I don't even see that happening. He's not giving up number one picks. He's barely not giving up number two picks. Trust me. He ain't doing that because those are picks that he uses and he uses well in the draft.
But I do think
Green Bay is not drafting well because we keep stealing their drafts.
4 years and we haven't seen it yet.
Yep. Green Bay is going down. I think Green Bay is one of the teams that's going down in our division. I really do.
I said the same thing. Exactly. Said the same thing.
So do you agree with what Mike said? Is it really the Vikings that are going to be going toe to toe with us?
I think the Vikings and the Lions are going to be because they're going to be they're built for these. They got coaches. Let me tell you something. I don't like LaFleur, whatever the hell his damn name is. LaFluke. Yeah, he's a crybaby ass coach.
He is.
If you ever watch you ever watch games and you watch the coach on the sideline when something doesn't go right for the team or there's a penalty? Kevin O'Connell and Dan Campbell tend not to say shit. Kevin O'Connell is a little bit more voicey about it, but Dan Campbell just like, whatever. Bring on the next fucking thing we got to do. So, and Kevin O'Connell is that way to a point.
Where's my coffee?
And Kevin O'Connell is that way to a point. I mean, he does give different looks than Dan. He's a different person than Dan. But at the same time, he ain't out crying like LaFleur is. LaFleur cries. Every time a penalty happens, that dude's jumping up and down on the sideline.
I don't think LaFleur's even played football in his life.
And he gets mad. It's not – Green Bay is a has-been now. Green Bay is going to be kind of like what Minnesota was. Minnesota has been. Chicago's going to be like Detroit. Chicago's going to be in a basement constantly all the time until they get anything right on their team. I'm talking about from the top down. And I think Green Bay's at that point right now. They're just getting tired of shit.
The way I look at it, to be is that like the Lions ain't going anywhere, man. I mean, nope. Brad Holmes keeps drafting. You've locked in your best players. Jared Goff ain't going anywhere. I mean, the defense will get better with 97 coming back, and they'll probably draft some players in the defense. The secondary looks pretty solid going forward. They're all under contract. So, I mean, the Lions ain't going anywhere, man. Like, this is going to be – we can make a run of this. We really can. It starts today. We got to get another win against a North opponent, sweep the North, send a statement to the North, and say, hey, it ain't happening. So just stop. Just stop with your chatter and all that stuff. Like, shut up and go play the 5th seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
all right, boys.
I mean, at the same time, I look at it like this.
What you got?
I mean, everybody on this panel feels that the Lions are going to win the game. So that goes without saying. We happen to lose the game. I'm still not sad about 5th place. As good as a road team that the Lions are, they're just going to have to work. And if they get to that place, I'm telling you right now, Dan is going to make the most of that scenario. He's going to say, look, if we got to work harder to get to the Super Bowl, damn it, we're going to have to work harder.
And that's what he said in the presser. He said that exact same thing in the presser. He said, listen, we're not afraid to go on the road. We've won. We're undefeated. We're the only team undefeated on the road this year. But, would we like to get the 1 seed and play in Detroit? Hell yeah, we would. That's first and foremost.
That's a goal, yeah.
But this team ain't afraid of going on the road. Let me ask you this question. If that did happen, do your chances of Gus getting to the Super Bowl lessen, or do you stay the same?
They're Super Bowl. I said they're going to the Super Bowl no matter what.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a difference what path they have. They're getting to the Super Bowl. I think the only obstacle that I see that might create a problem for them is Philadelphia, if they have to play in Philadelphia. Yeah. Because that's a rabid, especially in the playoffs. That's a rabid environment.
That's
two crazy fan bases.
I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that Dan won't have them playing, because Dan will have them playing. They're gonna, they owe them an ass whooping too. Because remember the first game, I think it was the first game that they played was against the Eagles. They took them too. They took the Eagles all the way. And the Eagles, that was the year the Eagles went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
Let's get that 1 seed, man. Let's do it in Detroit. Yeah. Everything would be great in Detroit. Like, why not? Let's do it all there.
Let's get the Super Bowl. That's what I don't care about any paths that they take. They're getting to the Super Bowl. Let's get to that Super Bowl. I want to win. They deserve the rest. They've been playing, since week 5 without a bye, and they need that rest. Them players need that rest, and they need players to get healthy. 2 weeks is plenty of time for that to happen. I understand people say, well, 2 weeks, they might fall off. I don't see that from this team.
Most teams probably would probably not want that bye, but we need it because that gives another week for Alex. Another week for Aiden, another week for Barnes, Montgomery, another week for Montgomery. You get all those boys back soon.
Yeah, and on top of that, I don't think there's going to be a layover if they have 2 weeks off. I don't think Dan is going to let them have that that layover. I think he's going to be in their ass every time they go into practice. He's going to make them boys work hard and say, look, damn it, we win in this game, this next game, whoever we play, we're going to beat their ass. So let's go out there and do it. I don't care.
Yeah, have you been a coach before?
Really quick.
I just got like a coach mentality.
Chicago
Bears
are up on the Green Bay Whackers.
I tell you what, man. Like,
who cares?
The Bears need this win, man. They need this win. You can't have your team own you 3 years in a row or 4 years in a row, man. If it would have been our team, we'd be saying the same thing. And everybody in the North has owned us, probably still owns us, but we're coming. We're here.
I think the thing about Green Bay too, this game is going to be
hop off. I got some stuff I got to do. Y'all
go for it, man.
Look, go Lions, man.
Yeah, we'll be talking. Good show, man.
For sure. Y'all take it easy.
All right, Jay. Take it easy, man.
Take care, Ben.
Sir.
Go ahead, B. What was your point?
I was going to say, this game right here, this Green Bay Chicago game that they're playing right now, will show you how much of entitlement Green Bay thinks they have. Right now, they're playing with the mentality they don't care if they win or lose this game because, hey, they're going to go on the road and beat whoever they play. Bullshit. If you have that mentality, you don't care if you win this game. And now Chicago is going to be like, I don't give a damn if you don't play any of your damn starters. We whoop your ass. That stops that 12-game losing streak we had against you. Fuck y'all.
Are they sitting their starters, B? I don't even know if they're.
I don't know. I think Green Bay was probably playing their stars. I would hope that they were playing for the fact they want to retain. They want to get that 6th seed instead of the 7th seed.
Oh yeah, loves playing.
Because Washington is the 6th seed right now. So if Washington loses,
right now. I'm playing the Cowboys.
If Washington loses and Green Bay wins, they flip flop. If Washington wins, it doesn't make a difference. Green Bay's staying where they're at. So that Green Bay wants to win the game so they can get a better seeding. But,
yeah, you talk about Philadelphia. I don't think anybody wants to go to Philadelphia right now and play them early on because, with Saquon Barkley rested and ready to go, it's going to be a tough ask.
Yeah, I don't even know who I'd want to win both of those teams because it was – I don't like either one. I don't. I think the Eagles are overrated. I think, Green Bay wins. We'll just beat them. It doesn't make a difference. We're going to beat them.
I would like the Packers to take out the Eagles early, and then because I don't fear the Packers, so they can come into our house and just lose. No, I'd love to take out the Eagles.
If Tampa Bay wins their game today, they're going to solidify their position, and Atlanta is going to be going home. Mm-hmm. So if Tampa Bay wins, which I think they're going to do because they're not. Yeah,
they're playing the Saints
around. If they win that game. And Green Bay manages to win and Washington loses and Green Bay has to go to Tampa Bay, Green Bay's not winning that game.
They're not. Game too. Yeah.
Tampa Bay whooped their ass last year in Green Bay. Their ass in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. And that was when Jordan Love was supposedly on his tear. That was like a couple of games after the Lions game where he was supposed to be so much better in the last 9 games, but you got your ass whooped by the Giants and Tampa Bay in that stretch. So that's why I said Green Bay wasn't going to do shit.
Yeah, just there's a lot of talking amongst our fan bases. They just think that they're trying to claim what they claim, and the reality is the facts are the facts. Like, they ain't us.
Right. That's exactly it. They ain't.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up on that point. So the plan will be for next week. We'll do it at 11:30. And what we'll do is we'll just have playoff talk about the Lions' potentials, matchups, and just talk about the overall playoffs. We'll just talk about the matchups or whatever's happened or what's going to happen. And we'll just kind of keep it playoff show. And then the next week, it's on whoever we're going to play.
That is true. Yeah, we can do that. We'll do that.
All right, sir. Awesome. Well, thank you again for Mike coming on the show. We enjoyed it. Always good to have him on the show. Don't wish the Vikings any luck today. It's all about the Lions. It's everything in front of us. It starts today, and Lions will take care of business. I have no doubt in my mind. All right. As always, fuck the Packers, fuck the Vikings, fuck the Bears. We're signing off. We're out. Go Lions.
Go Lions. Get that W.
Let's go.
We some lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions, got them all listening. Time to make history, I want a victory. Lions, don't let the boys get loose. About to play with our food any day that we choose. We some lions.